I would imagine it's got to be difficult for some people to separate and to understand what their values are if they are assimilating or adopting those of, okay, I went to the school, I went to this university,
Right.
I'm employed by this company. Well,
Yeah.
wait a minute, like I know what my values are there because I'm employed, and this is the mission and the values of the corporation
Right.
and us as a in a culture, and then it could be church and all that. But then I wonder if sometimes people step back and even analyze, well, what's important to me,
Right.
right?
Absolutely.
I'm constantly adapting to these other things that are
Right.
important to just succeeding in life,
Right.
right?
Yeah. And that's so good. So what I do is I listen a lot
Yeah.
to people and to my clients, and I'll see patterns. Like, Troy, you've talked about we've been meeting for 2 months, and you've talked about family almost every single session. That's not on your values. What do you think? What do you think about family? How do you like and look at your values? Is this something should we consider this? What do you think? Right? And you're like, oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And are you sure? I don't want to tell you what to do, but I look for patterns like that.
Yeah.
And there's also patterns with, through coaching, we call it incongruency. So where and we do it all the time. We're like, hey, I really want this. I really want this thing over here. I want to do this. I want this. I want to have our talent podcast needs to be number one, the number one podcast. Awesome. Yeah, I love it too, Troy. And I want it to be number one too. Hey man, what are you doing tomorrow? Oh man, I'm gonna go and do this other thing that's way away from that, right?
Right.
Or what are you doing? What's your goal for 3 months down the road? Oh yeah, I'm gonna go do these other things that's not headed towards our town being number one.
Yeah.
Right. So I'll bring that up. Hey Troy, so you say you want this but you're gonna go do this. Show me how those align.
Right.
Explain that to me. Help me see that.
It's
Because I'm your battle buddy. I'm walking with you.
It's interesting you say that because just using that as an example, right? Like I used to play a lot of golf, like a lot, and admittedly I kind of burned out to a certain degree, or it wasn't just burnout, but it was like, man, I really need to focus on this aspect of my career, which is about 5 years ago, which I did.
Yeah.
And sometimes you go through life, you have different interests.
Absolutely.
And sometimes you can still do something at the same level of passion, let's say like course of 20 years. And then other people might be like, I don't play pickleball, just as far as from like a hobby standpoint, right?
Right.
Pickleball, I might do some bowling, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try that. Well, my brother-in-law was here, and they come into the studio, and he's like, wow, this is pretty impressive. When do you have time to do those other things? I'm like, I don't do those other things. This is something I feel like if I want it to be number one, then there's a lot of work to do.
Absolutely.
And I've decided to sacrifice. And the same thing, even when I played a lot of golf, I didn't do those other things because I wasn't fair then to my family.
Right.
Like I only really can have time for one hobby because I have an addictive personality. I'll be all in. I want to be the best. And there's no room for like two of those things in my life.
Yeah.
Because then that's not fair to them.
Right.
And so he was like, he kind of looked at me weird. I'm like, I'm up early. I'm go to bed late. There's a lot of work. I've created this monster, but that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So good.
Because otherwise it's going to be non-congruent.
Right. Yeah. Man, that's so good. And staying consistent to that. So I help a lot of people with confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the things that I've seen with confidence is that they're letting themselves down over and over. And so, and this is something that even in my own life that I have faced, I learned early on. And luckily for me, you saw the picture earlier. You put it up when I was in school and skinny. I hated that. Right. So I was like,
being skinny?
Yeah.
Were you about 170 pounds?
6'5"? 185 pounds. Yeah.
All right.
When I graduated and played college basketball, and I could jump out of the gym, but I was, I played power forward because I was strong, but I could be moved by a 200-pound guy, a little easier. But then, so I was like, man, I wasn't comfortable in myself, in my own skin. And I'm glad I went through that, because what that has done is made me really empathetic for other people especially men. So when I meet men and I see them in that place, and I can identify because I've been there, and my heart goes out to them.